I'm Cara Harvey, and I want to welcome you to this session on how to create a weekly planning system that is going to help you ditch the overwhelm, get things done, feel less shame, and actually work on your goals. I love this quote to kick us off by Jim Rohn. It says, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And here's the thing I've noticed with the moms and women that I work with. We put our stuff last all the time. Every time I go to, plan out my week or figure out what I want to do, my goals take a back seat. And it's because I'm not thinking strategically. I'm thinking about everyone's needs first. The other issue is we want to go to Pinterest and find the perfect planner and the perfect chart and think, I'm just going to find the planner and it's going to save my life. But in the end, really, that is meant for someone else's life. I'm going to show you a system today that will allow you to learn how to customize a plan for your life and your season. We're going to cover a lot of stuff today. I talk kind of fast, so hopefully you've gotten whatever all access you need to be able to watch this again. Here's my aim for us. I'm going to overview a weekly planning system and why we need it. We're going to talk about pre-planning and go through my system and my steps on how to plan so you're not last on the list. We're going to talk about delegation, when to let things go, and how to pick your priorities. So I want you to ask yourself now, on a scale of 1 to 10, how efficient would you say you are right now with managing your task list for the week? This is not only making it, but completing it. Now, here's the thing. I know that if you're a 1, you're not going to end today's session as a 10, but I would love for you to get a few tips that bring you up to a 2, 3, or even a 4. If you're coming in at a 5, you're like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Pick out what works for you, and let's grow your efficiency with your time management. I'm Cara. I'm going to give you a quick intro to me because you're not here to hear about me. You want to hear the planning system, but I want to remind you that I've been there. I'm a mom of 3. My kids are currently, I need to get a new picture up there. Oh my gosh, 5, 7, and 16. I had to think about that for a minute, but I am a former burnt out school teacher, coffee obsessed reality TV lover, and I am the CEO of A Purpose Driven Mom. I am the founder of the Purpose Driven Mom podcast, the Purpose Driven Mom Club, and my book, The 15-Minute Formula, is a #1 bestseller on Amazon, over at Barnes & Noble as well. And I know what it's like to put yourself last. I've been there where I've been sitting on the floor of my kitchen crying, wondering when will it be my time. I know that there is something out there better for us moms, for us women who want to be able to manage their time, to go after their goals, but we're juggling a bunch of hats. That's what I'm saying. We're wearing a bunch of hats, juggling all the balls, right? And here's the thing. Everything I've noticed out there, productivity-wise, is very masculine energy. It's very much like shame, hustle, get up at 5 a.m. or you're a failure. And I want to encourage you that it does not have to be that way. So if you ever sat down at the end of the week and wondered what the heck just happened, you throw your hands up in the air, then you're going to need a weekly planning system. Now, I'm not going to say that I'm perfect at it. I know that there are days I could be more efficient, but my method is all about intentionality and grace. Going into my week with a plan that makes sense for my season and asking myself, where do I need some flexibility? I'm going to talk about a plan that is all about flexibility plus urgency. So why do you need a weekly planning system? If you have ever connected with any of the statements I'm going to give you, this system is going to help you. Are you tired of coming last on your list? Is it that you're doing everything for everyone else and you're forgetting about your goals? Are you feeling reactive to life? Do you feel like you're just constantly putting out the figurative fires that pop up instead of proactive? Are you finding that you're forgetting things that are important? You ever miss a meeting or an appointment? Or do you struggle to schedule in any time for your goals at all? When you think about the progress you're making, do you have any clue what you've even done? Or if I was to say to you, hey, how did your week go? You'd be like, I have no idea. And do you feel like you're just spinning your wheels and floating through your week? Now listen, been there, done that. This system's going to help you make some of those things a little bit easier. It's going to show you how to use pre-planning, and that will be your key lever. Pre-planning, I teach a proactive and a reactive method. The proactive, it's not about perfectionism, and I want you to hear that. It is about intentionality. It's about saying, this is what I need to get done this week. I've broken it down into manageable tasks that make sense for what my week is. And when it's time to sit down to do the job, I know how to do it. If I know that I want to get the laundry folded at this time, where is it going to go? If I'm trying to work on a personal goal or get my garden going or declutter my house, I'm going to pre-plan that. There's so many times we sit down to work on our goals and we're often just so mentally drained and overwhelmed that we don't even know where to get started. We're also going to talk today about how a system is going to help your home and your life just flow better with routines and predictability. But here's what I want to tell you. I know there are a lot of people out there who are like, I'm not a planner. This is not for me. I don't want to plan anything. And that's fine. This is not going to box you in. This is going to give you the freedom. But know that when you have routines, the ones that make sense for your family, again, not just the ones that some pretty Pinterest chart tells you, you are going to save time during your week. Because when decision fatigue hits, right? Have you ever heard the thing where like a woman's brain is like, having 1,000 Chrome tabs open on your browser? I mean, that decision fatigue is real. We're exhausted. I want to give you a plan that actually sets you up for success. So how does the system that I'm going to teach you work? There's two parts to it. One is on Sundays. We're going to talk about the Sunday process today. Sunday takes about 30 minutes, all right? It's where you're going to do your brain dump, you're going to list out your goals, you're going to reflect, you're going to get your planning in, and we're going to go step by step through the Sunday process. The other recommendation is to follow a similar process at night before you go to bed. Why? So that when you wake up, you know and are intentional. You know exactly what tasks need to get done. You've been able to move things around based on urgency and you're ready to go. This takes me 5 minutes every single night. And just by spending that time, I save hours during the week. And you can too. So before you sit down to do the planning system, I'm going to encourage you to do a few things. One, talk to your people, right? Your partner or your kids, or if you have like in-laws or people that help with things. Check in with them. What do we have going on? I mentioned I have 3 kids, 5, 7, 16. That is a lot of activities, right? My kid plays travel ball. My daughter does competition cheer and Girl Scouts. I am a Girl Scout leader. My son plays football and basketball. Like, we have a lot happening in our plates. What I need you to know is that it's possible to get the things done, but you need to communicate it. So talking to my husband about who's doing pickup and drop off, making sure we have a sitter for nights we need it, just checking in the week and saying, do you have a work thing, that's overlapping into the normal schedule is important. So you can't always do it alone. Check in with them. You're also going to want to grab any sort of tracker you have for your goals. This way we can do an adjustment based on what you've created. If you have anything at all, bring those to the table. Have your calendar or your planner with you. I just want to say this too. A planner is a tool, right? It's not the be all end all. The planner is not going to save you. I have a ton of planners that also live in my planner graveyard, so I understand what it's like. But it's a tool, but you need it, right? Because you need to know what's going on. And then see if you can have quiet space to do this. Make a playlist for yourself, sit and just try to be focused for 30 minutes on Sundays. Again, Saturday, whatever works for you, just to sit in some gratitude and reflect on your week. If we're always just going through the motions, we're never going to stop and applaud ourselves for our hard work, and we're not going to know where to go. The first thing you're going to do is determine your seasons for the week. So I want to give you a brief overview of my 4 seasons method. Now, each of these seasons you're going to hear me talk about, you may find that you default into a season. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing shameful about that. It's just the way you're wired. And based on the way you're wired, you might need more time for each season. But also based on the way you're wired, you might find you're using one of the seasons to procrastinate. So let's talk about it. Our 4 seasons, push, rest, planning, and fun, I think are the keys to an aligned week. I'm not going to talk about balance. I'm going to talk about alignment. Balance is saying, 4 seasons divided up by 7 days, every 1.25 days or whatever the math is on that, right? I need to have this season. No, this is saying, do I have it aligned for what's going on in my life, right? So there's some seasons of my life. I coached competition cheer this past year for the first time. I'm not coaching anymore. Whew, that was intense, right? That season looked a little bit different for me versus the summer where I choose to intentionally take time off and work light. So my question to you is, what do you need this week? It's going to change. Do you need a season of push? Now, you're going to need some of each 4 season, but you might not need as much. I am a driven person. I am naturally wired to push. I used to feel ashamed about that. People would be like, oh, you're just like, you try to do too much or whatever. But here's the thing. I really think that if you have a season of push and that's what you need set up for how you're wired, you're going to feel better. If I only push, I will set myself up for burnout. So when I look at my week, I ask, where do I want my season of push? For me, that's Monday through Thursday. I work Monday through Thursday, and I work Friday too, but it's a little different. We have activities. That's my push. Now, I need to force myself to also have a season of rest. So I rest on, I guess, Saturdays, like a little bit on Saturdays, and that's my time. We do sports, we do activities, but I don't time block. I don't put anything on my plate. I just do my rest. Now, here's the thing. You might default to rest based on how you're wired. You might need more rest during your week. That's fine, but you're going to want to put them into your calendar. You're also going to need a season of planning in your week. I plan on Fridays. So Fridays is like an admin time for my business. It's when I'm planning my next week. I make my meal plan. That lets me feel successful. I feel okay with one day of planning. And then my season of fun tends to be like Saturday nights, Sundays, like family game night, things like that. I know that I, as a person, as Cara, I like more push, but you might not. So my question for you is, look at your week and ask yourself, do I at least have some semblance of these seasons? Even if I'm only having fun on Friday night, is that enough for me to feel aligned? Now, once you have that, we can go through and create your time blocks. Now, time blocks, if you've never heard the concept, are essentially 3 to 4 hours of activities that you have that are chunked around anchors in your day. Maybe from when you wake up to breakfast, breakfast to lunch, lunch to snack. Maybe it's I wake up, take my kids to school, then we pick them up, we have activities, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to look at your time blocks. These are my actual time blocks that I have made. And I want you to ask yourself, where's my seasons, right? Where's my rest, my fun, my planning, and my push? You might want to highlight through them. Look at that and ask yourself, does that feel aligned? And then based on that, you're going to create themed blocks. Now, I can't go into my entire system today, but I want to encourage you to pick themes based on your goals. Themes don't say, I only work on these goals during this time. Themes say, this is where I will work on them. Does that make sense? So during my self-care block from 5 to 9, I still get my kids ready for school. We still make breakfast. Like we still do those things, but it's also where I get my walk-in and my meditation and my workout, right? It's saying this is where it goes. And there's something about this theming process that has led thousands of women that I work with be like, this makes sense to me. Because what happens is you have all these goals, you don't feel like you have time for them, and now it's like, wait, where do they fit? So I put in the activities, I put in my work blocks, right? On Fridays, 9 to 12, I do a relationships block where I go have coffee with a friend on Fridays after my meeting. Like that feels good to me. Every day doesn't have to have the same themes, but you want to make sure when you look at your week, you feel alignment because not every day is going to feel aligned, but holistically, week at a glance, do you feel that? Sunday afternoons, that's when I work on my personal goals. I chunk them all there. Family time, Friday, Saturday nights. Home block where I'm working on the laundry and maybe if I have a decluttering goal or things like that. So you're going to just look at each week and ask like, what are my themes again this week based on my life and my goals, not based on that pretty Pinterest chart. Now, once you've got your theme set up, now we're going to add in the things you cannot change, appointments, work, things like that. You can see my examples. 12 to 3 on Monday, a doctor appointment. This was what my calendar looked like. I would have Girl Scouts Monday nights and I would coach cheer on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I had church on Sunday mornings. What do you have? What are your standing appointments? We're going to write these down so that you don't forget them because if they're not written down, you're going to forget. And again, you're going to kind of do it week by week. Pull the calendar, school events, things you don't want to forget. This will also help you notice, hey, I typically have a relationships block Friday from 9 to 12, but my kid has an activity at school, for example. I know that I now need to shift my relationship block just for this week. So then you ask yourself the question, for me, I guess hanging out with my kids' activity technically counts for a relationship, but what if the goal was having coffee with a friend, right? Okay, can I do a Zoom happy hour with a friend at the end of the night instead? Or for this week, maybe I just move my relationship block and I just don't have it this week. I'm not failing. I'm not off track. It just doesn't work in my schedule. And it lets you, again, aim for alignment. So start with the things you can't change. Then what you're going to do is add in time for your goals. I teach a concept of the 15 minutes. 15 minutes works. We think that it's not enough time, but that's the perfectionist in your brain telling you only an hour workout counts or only 2 hours of a Bible study counts, blah, blah, blah. No, it does not. 15 minutes works. 15 minutes is enough to get you reading and finishing a book by the end of the month. It's enough to get my dishwasher loaded. It's enough to declutter a shelf in my hall closet. It's enough to take a walk. Allow 15 minutes to be enough and work in micro tasks. So what I recommend inside your time blocks is you look at how much time your block is. So this one is 4 hours, for example. This one is 3. And you divide it by 2. I do not recommend you add in more additional tasks than half the time you have. Why? Buffer. Things are going to take longer than you realize. You're going to have a call or an appointment take longer. You want to give yourself space. So this is what it would look like for me. In my self-care block now, I'm doing my walk and my meditation, okay? I do a 20-minute walk, and again, perfectionist, okay, I just said 20 minutes. Cara, you said 15. Perfectionist, let it go, right? It's a small chunk. And a 5-minute meditation. Okay, that feels good for me. At night, I'm working on my evening routine, so I make lunches and I load my dishes. I'm very specific about where my goals are, and I add them in strategically. We start with what I have to do for other people, the appointments, and most people will say, well, now I got to fill it with the Target runs and the school projects. No. Can you add 15 minutes a day for one of your goals? Just start there. Once you have that set up, you're then going in, adding in time for learning. Oh, friends, can we talk about learning? Learning is key for you to grow, and this could be a skill. We have moms in my groups who are learning how to play the guitar or learn languages. I took a gardening course this year, right? I took a decluttering course. You can learn a skill or mindset work. You listen to a great book or a podcast. Purpose Driven Mom Show is always a recommendation, or whatever you're doing. So what I recommend you do is you say, where am I going to read? So I decided that I was going to read in my home block here and in my personal goals block, but I'm not reading for an hour. This is one 15-minute chunk, and I divide it up. If I want to finish a 250-page book by the end of the month, I'm going to divide it up by however many days I can read, which I would say 25. You never do it perfect, never 7 out of 7 or 31 out of 31, right? 25 divided by 250, 10 pages a day. Can you read 10 pages a day? I know your brain wants to say you're too busy, but realistically, 10 pages. So in my home block, I might do my reading here. While I'm folding laundry, I'm listening to an audiobook, or during my personal goals block. So then I start to add my learning in. This is so key, friends. And if you're not doing any growth and learning for you, I want to push you to do it. Now, once you've got that in, we're going to add in what's called our Q1 and Q2 tasks. I'm going to talk about the Eisenhower Matrix briefly now. If you've never seen the Eisenhower Matrix, it is a concept that allows you to prioritize. You are now going to make an urgent list for the week that is actually urgent, because not everything is urgent, and actually a priority, because not everything is a priority. I'm going to go through each of the quadrants now and how I encourage you to look at them. But you're going to want to look at it through the lens of what needs to get done by the end of my week. If it truly does not need to get done by the end of the week, we're not going to call it urgent, okay? And I'm going to show you that now. So Q1 tasks, these are urgent and important. Deadlines, emergencies, last minute things, last minute tasks. If you know you need to fill out that paperwork by Friday, that's a Q1. If the paperwork needs to get filled out by the end of the month, not a Q1. Because this will allow that to-do list to feel less daunting, it will feel less scary, and it will allow you to really strategically put things in. What are the things you need to do? So on Sundays, when I do my planning, I do all the steps, right? I add in my appointments, I add in my goals and habits, I add in my learning, and then I do a brain dump. I split my paper into 4, essentially, so it looks like these, and I start to run through my activities. I also use Trello to do this. There's a lot of really great ways you can do this. And I say to myself, what really is a Q1? Now, there's a couple ways you can do your brain dump. You can either do it category by category, or you can do one big brain dump by area of your life, like my entire Girl Scouts, school, family, and then I can dump it and then I can put it in, all right? So what actually needs to get done by the end of the week, okay? So examples of things that are on my list right now. I need to order shirts for a trip we're taking for Girl Scouts. That has to be done by Friday. That is a Q1. Right? I need to go to the bank to get a new card. That is a Q1. That needs to be done by Friday, okay? I need to order. So here's the interesting thing, right? I need to get a birthday gift for a birthday party for next Friday. So does that need to get done by this Friday? Technically, no. But I still will put it on my list, and I will put it under Q2s. These are important but non-urgent for the week. Relationship building, self-care, projects, things that don't need to happen. So my kid just got invited to a lot of birthday parties. As soon as I get invited to the party, I go to my thought catcher, which is what we call this brain dump. And under Q2, I put birthday gift, Brian, birthday gift, Jada, and I write them there. This way, I don't forget that I have to buy the birthday gift, but they're not urgent. But here's what I do. If I'm at Target, I can, or on Amazon or whatever, I can pull up my list and say, what are all the birthday gifts I need to get? I'm just going to get all of this month's birthday gifts now. But I'm not going to stress about it. I'm going to allow it to be more fluid. I'm going to show you how you work on your Q2s, but these are things that are important. They've got to get done. Maybe by the end of the month, by the end of next month, but they are not urgent. My kid has a project due in 3 weeks. It's a Q2, right? But it's not a Q1 yet. Your goal is to get to your Q2 activities before they become Q1s, but that's also not life, right? So we're going to write those down. Now we move into Q3s. So if we're looking at these, by the way, I call Q1s the do it now, like they got to get done. Q2s, do it later, like they've got to get done, but I don't need to do them now. Q3s, this is my delegate. These are things that are urgent but not important. Things other people can do, some meetings, last minute other people's problems, interruptions. These are things you can delegate. We're trying to plan a vacation. It was a Q2 for me because I was like, I want to do it. And then I realized I can ask my husband to do the research and I don't need to worry about it. And then I'll scoop in later, right? He can sign them up for a camp. I can ask other moms to help out with Girl Scout stuff. It doesn't always have to be me. So it's things that are urgent. I've got to get them done by the end of the week, but they're not important that I do them. That's the caveat, okay? So you want to write those things down. Those are examples of today, literally, I said to my husband, we need to look up this vacation stuff. I do not have the space. Do you have the brain space to do it? Right? Can you go pick up this thing? Like, can you place the Target? I'll place the Target pickup order for the birthday gifts. Can you just go get it? Right? This is things that you can delegate. Our final category are Q4s. These are things that are not urgent or important for the week. Maybe excessive TV calls, time wasters, some social media. Now, I love TV. I love books. I read a ton. But sometimes you have to say to yourself, do I drop this for this week? So if I'm trying to sign my kid up for an activity, but the activity doesn't start for like 4 months, but I want to like do research on the activity, I need to ask myself, based on how many Q1s I have, like how much stuff is on my list, do I have to do this week? No, I can drop this. And then maybe next week it becomes a Q3 where I can ask my husband to do it. And then maybe the week after that, he hasn't done it. So it becomes a Q2 for me. And then maybe eventually it'll become a Q1. But it's asking yourself, is this actually urgent and important for the week? Then we're going to plop it in, right? So let me go back to this one here where we have our calendar. Now you're going to go through and say, based on all of these, my do it nows, do it laters, delegates, and drop its for the week, where am I going to fit those? Now, I teach a method called Thought Catcher Time. This is proactively planning out your week, even just 15 minutes to an hour, where you don't plan anything, and that's where you do all the last minute things. I know that I'm going to make a great plan on Sundays. I know how to do this. I still forget things. I'm human. So I'll be in the shower, and all of a sudden I remember this birthday card that I have to go get. The problem is when we don't know where it's going to go, we will push off the stuff we've planned. Now, this way, I can say, hey, for me, I do it Wednesdays. I drop my kids at school, and then 9 to 12 is my thought catcher time. I don't spend all of 9 to 12 doing it. Probably spend about an hour, run to Target, get the things I forget, get anything on my Q1 or Q2 list, sit in the car, make the appointments I need to make, go home, fill out the paperwork I need to fill out, whatever it looks like for me. This way, I know midweek, all the stuff that I forgot, I have a place for it. So then on Monday, when something pops up, I ask myself, is this a Q1 for today? If it does not have to be done by the end of the day, it can wait till Wednesday. You don't need to be running 100 errands and going to the store every day. You just have to make sure you have time for it. So then you add in, when is it all going to happen? And this allows you to keep adding to your list as stuff pops up, but honoring the plan and the schedule that you made. Now, here's the thing. This was a lot, right? But I wanted to give you an overview to understand that if you just put in this 60 minutes, right? It's learning, some habits, goals, your thought catcher time. If you just put that in every day, you will be better off and better able to help with everybody else's stuff. That's what we do, right? And it still has to happen, but what if we just put you first? This system is going to help you and what is actually important to you not fall through the cracks. And I want to encourage you this week to ask yourself, what is one piece from this system that I want to apply? What is one piece that I want to start using when I plan out my week? We do this every week in my membership, the Purpose Driven Mom Club. We meet on Sundays and we follow this same process. Why? Because it helps us feel intentional about our week, but then we also have grace for when life happens and throws you for a curveball. I would love to connect more, so you can come hang out with me on my podcast, The Purpose Driven Mom Show. I'm on Instagram at A Purpose Driven Mom. And if you want to check out my book, there's also a free workbook that comes with it that will walk you through more of this process. It's over at the15minuteformula.com/free. It also will link you over to Amazon or Barnes & Noble if you want to snag the book. I'd appreciate it. Connect with me. Ask me any questions. I'm here to help. And just know you got this. And on the days you don't, that's okay too. You went in with intention. You did the best you could. And tomorrow's a new day. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for watching.